Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dot to Dot. Today, I'm going to talk about the Cipher documents. Now, in my last video, I talked about the 5 documents that are related to Oak Island and that have what Rick Lagina would call connective tissue. Well, today I'm going to show you the Cipher documents, and I have a little presentation set up here. And let me go to slideshow so you guys can see it better. So here is the Cipher documents, and we have 3 of them. Now, the first of these Cipher documents, of course, came from Kempton, and he was a minister in Massachusetts that wrote, well, at least started to write, an account of the money pit excavation on Oak Island. He never finished it, but his notes, which you can see right here, went to a author named Edward Snow, who wrote in a book. I guess it was around 1949, 1950. Austin Kempton had already passed away during that time. And this is where the first announcement of basically the decipherment of the 90-foot stone, so to speak, and the cipher that was on the 90-foot stone appeared, and it read 40 feet below 2 million pounds are buried. But one thing we can see on this, and one thing that is a very controversial subject, is the second character here in the code. Now, some skeptics say that Austin Kempton put this character in, which would be an upside down triangle with a slash mark through it, and that he made a mistake because the character for F is an upside down triangle just like this. And what they didn't know at the time was that, and we'll see this in the formula later, that the actual upside down triangle with one slash through it is the letter G. And of course, you know, the letter G comes after the letter F. Now, it was put forth by Phil Stevenson, who actually is the person who has the second document we'll be talking about. He says that it is possible that the cipher on the 90-foot stone was written by mistake, and that the person who chiseled the symbols into the 90-foot stone accidentally put the symbol for the letter G instead of the letter F. And when he was finished, or sometime while he was doing this, he noticed this and just put another line through it, making it basically a non-symbol, and put the upside down triangle for the letter F right to the left of it. Now, you can say that probably about the Austin Kempton note here, but why would Austin Kempton repeat this mistake right here? And another thing, too, is why would Austin Kempton or Lechty, who was the old Irish school teacher who actually discovered the solution to the cipher, why would he make a mistake? And if this was a hoax, why are they putting this in here? Why wouldn't they just put an upside down triangle and be done with it? Why would they put in this? And I think it's because this is what Austin Kempton, or actually Lechty, the professor, saw on the 90-foot stone, and he just recorded what it was. Now, on the 90-foot stone, the difference between these other two is this is in English, where the two up here, the Phil Stevenson document and La Formula, which was basically most likely given to Bill Jackson by Jim McGinnis, who is a descendant of the McGinnis brother that was on the island that discovered the 90-foot stone and the money pit. But this document here is very interesting. And this was given to me by Phil Stevenson through email. And he was on the episode 22, season 8, Be There or T Square. And here is the note. And this has the same symbols as the 90-foot stone. And it has also a little narrative that was put basically describing what each one of these symbolic sentences says. Now, this, according to Phil Stevenson, this was found in his sister's house in a Masonic apron in a hidden pocket. And he believes that it belonged to one of his descendants who was named Robert Deonston Stevenson. And he was also, I don't know if he was a Mason. I think he probably was a Mason, but he also was a member of a Hermetic order of the Golden Dawn. And this document also has connections, perhaps, to Charles Warren, who was a archaeologist who did excavations under the Temple Mount. So this is a very important document. Now, is this a hoax? Now, everybody goes, well, when they don't understand something or they think it's a little bit too far out because of the connections it makes, that it was hoaxed. Now, it could be possible that Phil Stevenson may have hoaxed this, but I really, really doubt it. I've spoken to him through email several times, and his story seems very credible. And when you look at the document close up, you can see the ink has been transferred onto the paper. And this matches the symbols if it was folded over. In order to fake this, it would be very hard. And if you look at the document, it's hard to tell by this picture because it's so grainy, but you can see these symbols that are faintly put into the paper because it had been folded over, probably in a book. I don't know if an apron would have enough pressure to put those symbols on there over time, but it would take a long period of time for these to form on the other side. This ink also is definitely done with a quill pen because you can see the thinness and thickness as a circle is made. Same with a triangle. Definitely done with a quill pen. Now, the date of this is approximately the late 1800s. So this is information that somebody got somewhere through this cipher. Now, the cipher, when decoded, it is in French. And this is the decoded, just like the 90-foot stone, the same symbols to the same letters. And it's translated, this one is minus 22 degrees. So the narrative is this is a north datum adjustment. So in other words, this would be basically what we call the magnetic declination to true north. So when you have true north, a compass will always point to the magnetic North Pole, which changes over time. And here they're saying it's a minus 21 degrees, which would fit Oak Island. Now that means it is 21 degrees less than true north. So if you pointed your compass during this time, the compass would read 21 degrees less than true north. So if you wanted to find true north, you would add 21 degrees from your compass heading, and that would give you true north. Now, the next one is just the number 45. Now, this is said to be a heading from the altar. Now, in the Rochefoucauld map or the Xena map, the north arrow points in a 45-degree angle. And we'll also see that in the La Formula also calls out the number 45. It calls it out as an angle in which to dig. And this is the number 45. So the heading is right. From the altar, I don't know, because I don't know what the altar or where the altar is. Some say it is cone A on Nolan's Cross. The next one is 522 feet. This is called out as a distance from the altar. And in the formula, like we're going to see, 522 is called out. And it is a distance, and it gives in La Formula, it gives it in French feet, which is pied. Now the fourth one is Saint Quarte Cinct, which is 145. Now this is given as a solar azimuth heading. Now generally solar azimuth headings are in relation to true north. So I don't know how this would fit in subtracting the 21 degrees from the 145. That would give you the compass heading. So if you had, this was a true north heading of 145 degrees. If you subtract 21 degrees, you get 124 degrees, which would be a compass heading. Now the next one, and also this 145 also equates to a distance in Nolan's Cross, and that is the distance from the headstone to cone A, which may be the altar. So this could be just a misinterpretation of what this would be in the narrative, that this may be a distance to the altar, because we have two other references already from the altar, which would be cone A. The next one is 1065. This is also in the formula. It's spelled a little bit differently. And this is what they call the second distance. Now, in the formula, this is the second distance, 1065 pied in La Formula. Now, this is the very, very interesting one, is that they actually say in this document, cruzi quarte pied. In other words, dig 40 feet. And that is a verb that identically corresponds to La Formula. And it's also a depth. Now in this, they say a depth from the marker. So we wonder, what was the marker? So here's La Formula, and Zena Halpern, I guess, first appeared on The Curse of Oak Island with this season 4, episode 1. I can't remember if she brought up La Formula or just the map, but this is basically a document that was discovered by Bill Jackson, and was discovered by Zena Halpern, Don Rue, and Harry Weimer at Zena's house in the back of a book, along with the Zena map or the Rochefoucauld map or the Bill Jackson map. This is the same cipher as we see in Phil Stevenson's, and it is a complete cipher. Notice, here's the letter G right here, and this is a complete cipher, and the translation is this. Now, this is the French of when you substitute all the letters, and this is what it says in French. Oh, also, let me go back. In the La Formula, they also have down here 20, and then this is cut out. This means 20, and this is cut out, and then this is la valeur, which is the value. So La Formula is basically a translate to English, the formula. Now a formula can be several things. It could be a formula in mathematics. It can be a formula for some kind of potion or something like an ingredients, a recipe, but it also denotes a procedure. So a formula is basically a plan or procedure. And that's what we have here. Because when you translate this to English, and Olivier and I had talked about this before, that terrier, there's two words for basically dig, terrier and creuser, which is different. They're different in meanings. Where terrier means earth, and it means to embank or to fill in. This is what this says: stop, don't bury, in basically slang English, I guess you could say. In other words, don't fill in. And what this is, I guess it's really telling us, is that it's assuming that you've already dug down to a certain depth. And it's saying, don't bury, don't fill in this. And then it says, dig at 40 feet. So you could be at 40 feet, and the Phil Stevenson document says to dig 40 feet. So it says dig at 40 feet with an angle of 45 degrees. So here's your 45 in the Phil Stevenson document. The next line says the pole, which is Lahamp. And if you remember in the Zena Halper map, the Lahamp is the center of the quadrant on that map on the right-hand side. But the translation of Lahamp is many things. One of the main things is the pole or the shaft, like the shaft of a spear, or even the flag mast of a ship. But anyway, whatever the pole is, Lahamp, it's at 522 feet. Again, a number that is in the Phil Stevenson's document. And Olivier has a different interpretation here. This is just a straight translation, basically from Translate Google. And it says the pole at 522 feet to you. In other words, the pole, or Lahamp, is 522 feet, or peed actually, from you. So you're at a certain position, and the pole is 522 feet from you. So the next one is enter the corridor. And it is necessary here, really, and I know it's not in the cipher, that you basically distinguish where the ends of each of these statements end. So we have enter the corridor, and then it says at 1,065 feet. And here we go right here. 1,065 is another, that was the second distance in Phil Stevenson's document at feet. And this could be reached the chamber, but it is in the past tense. But if you were to go 1,065 feet, so in other words, when you're at 1,065 feet, you would have already reached the chamber. So maybe this is not grammatically correct in the sentence, but you have achieved the chamber or reached the chamber. Now, the last part down here, the thing in writing was the 20 blank, the value. And we don't know what this is. I have a good idea that this is 24, and it has to do with the value of an angle, which is from the north anchor to cone E, and the angle to triangle 2, which is on Zena Halpern's map. I believe that that's a 24-degree angle, and it gives you able to give you the distance between cone E and triangle 2. Now, here's the formula side by side, and this is a little sidetrack here, but this is the formula side by side, and this right here is a mirror image of the piece. Now, this right here, this La Formula document was most likely, it was refabricated on this paper by Jim McGinnis, and he was giving this to Bill Jackson. So this isn't the real document, but it may have been this right here, might have been what was on the back side of this document or this piece, which is the centerpiece of the Scrolls of Antiar, the Antiar schematic, which shows basically the underground flood tunnel system. I've showed this many times in videos, but you can see here I've outlined, this is the middle piece of this puzzle that shows this diagram of the Antiar schematic, the tunnel system. So this is the complete cipher and their letter values. One of the things too is in the and this is from the Phil Stevenson document, the letter M in his document changed a little bit from La Formula. It had a base here in the Phil Stevenson's document where it was a line up here for the letter M, which is interesting because it shows that it's not really something that's being duplicated to be a hoax. There was actually some sort of change down the line, just like they do in any other language or cipher, that accommodated this symbol. So when we go back to the Austin Kempton thing, the cipher here, we notice that it's basically telling us 40 feet below. So here we have another reference to the 40-foot depth. So we have two 40 feet that are basically telling us 40 feet depth. And in the La Formula, it says to dig at an angle at 40 feet. So are these hoaxes? If it was a hoax, it would have started with this one. And then the next one that came to public knowledge was La Formula. And then the one that came after that was Phil Stevenson. I really doubt that these are being hoaxed or copied as a hoax one after the other. And I don't believe that this right here was a hoax either. I think it was the actual real writing that was found on the 90-foot stone, which was not at Creighton's bookstore, actually. My theory is that it became part of a fireplace at Jotham McCulley's house, who was one of the people that did the excavations in the 1860s. I believe it ended up at his house, and they built it into his fireplace, just like John Smith did at his house on Oak Island. And whether that house remains today, I don't know. If it does, it may be, behind some boards, part of the fireplace. Because it is noted in the history that the stone was part of two fireplaces. So that is my presentation. These are the three documents of the cipher. They're all have very connective tissue in their content. I don't think they're hoaxed, and I think they're showing us the meaning of these different distances on Oak Island. So thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you later.